It is the Daily Betslip for Thursday, June 16th. The NBA season could end tonight. It is Game 6 between the Warriors and Celtics. That is obviously our game of the night. It is myself. It is Donnavan, Smoot. We're also going to talk best bets for today, community picks, bad beat of the day, and we're also going to talk World Cup because the World Cup teams were finally finalized this week. So we're going to give out our pick to win that, even though it's a few months away. Figured it was a little bit topical and also a dark horse. So it is myself. It is Donnavan. It is my last day before vacation. My brain has already turned into vacation mode. I'm going to do my best to get through the show. Donnavan, I do want to bring up, though, before we get into this, first game of the NHL Stanley Cup Final was last night. Obviously, myself and you are doing rookie versus the vet. You had a 1-point lead heading in the Stanley Cup Final. Avalanche won in overtime last night. That swings things in my favor. All they need to do is win the series, and at worst, it will tie. How do you feel?
I feel good because one, like you said, at worst we're gonna tie. Like I think if we get to a game 5 and it is 2-2, then I might start getting worried. Because then the possibility of a game 7 will come into play. I don't think I will truly be worried until we get to game 6, and in which I would just be rooting for the series to end. I don't care who wins at that point. I just need it to end in 6.
That's true. To correct myself, if the Avalanche win in 6, then you would win because we'd be getting 1 point each. If Colorado wins in 7, I win the whole thing with a big 2-3 point swing. Ben commenting, World Cup is coming to Kansas City unofficially. Y'all are invited. Are you done with the next World Cup?
Yeah.
Are there going to be games in Kansas City? Why would they choose Kansas City?
Arrowhead is a nice stadium. But yeah, the 2026 World Cup is going to be split between Canada, Mexico, and the United States.
Yeah, I saw there's a few games in Vancouver. I would hope that there'd be some at least in Toronto. I mean, I'm not going to go all the way to Vancouver to go watch any, but which side of Kansas City is it? The Missouri side or the Kansas side? Because it's two sides to one city, by the way.
I think what side is it going to be? It's probably going to be on the Missouri side because I think that's where Arrowhead is.
The Missouri side of the same city because it's one city, just to confirm. Not two separate cities. Poor Ben, not on the show to defend, to go against me about my take about Kansas City being one single city. But let's jump right into bad beat of the night. I have not suffered a bad beat personally for a while now, but we do. Ben, Iain, don't make me come after you. This is a great soccer city. All right, we'll see. I haven't had a bad beat for a while, but BetSided editor did have a bad beat last night. Peter had Yankees Rays under 3.5 for the first 5 innings. It was 1-0 heading into the bottom of the 5th, and the Yankees scored 3 runs to make it 4-0 and ruin the under 3.5. They could have scored 1 run, would have been fine. They could have scored 2 runs, would have been fine. 3 runs, though, to ruin an under 3.5 first 5 inning bad beat. That's a tough one.
It really is. And I remember reading Peter's article, and he was talking about how, he's been locked in on kind of the first 5 for the Yankees and Rays. He's been really locked in on the starting pitchers there. And if you're going into 5, like you really think that okay, it's just going to be one of those days. Like the under is going to hit on both the first 5 and in the total. So that's tough. I'm actually very, very surprised though that you haven't had a bad beat in a while. I feel like all of us have been affected by a bad beat. You're just skating free.
I guess so. What goes around comes around. I'm sure at some point I'm going to have multiple bad beats all in a row. But I've escaped at least a few weeks without any bad beats. But speaking of, you're just talking about how Peter has been doing well first 5 inning bets. I have a first 5 inning bet. But before we get into those, we're going to go into community picks. But I do want to let anyone who's watching this on Twitter, head over to YouTube. You can live comment on the show. We'll bring the comments up like I just brought up Ben's. We can comment on it. If you have any other picks for tonight, or if you have any questions about any games for tonight, let us know. But let's jump into the community picks. I tweeted out today looking for the people's best bets for today, especially this morning because I was pretty deep into the U.S. Open. So let's bring up the first one of the day. Little Striko prop, Matt M at Indy Mofro says Zach Wheeler over 5.5 strikeouts. Zach Wheeler and the Phillies are taking on the Washington Nationals. First pitch at 7:05 Eastern. I don't necessarily hate that one. I did just look up, though. The Nationals do have the 5th lowest strikeout rate against right-handed pitchers, and Zach Wheeler is obviously a righty, so that gives me a little bit of concern about that bet. I have a different bet for that game. Donnavan, do you have any thoughts on Wheeler over 5.5 strikeouts?
Yeah, I think it's okay because you're kind of just riding, what has been an extremely, hot hand for Wheeler. So he missed this line in his first 3 games, but since then he's hit it in every single start for the season. So that's 8 straight starts that he's gone above it, and he's not just clearing it, just by clearing the hook. He's getting, he's clearing it by 1 or 2 strikeouts kind of every single night. So I don't mind riding the hot hand, even against a Nationals team that's kind of tough to strike out.
Yeah, and I will say, if I am just looking at it now, if you're going to take an over strikeout prop against the Nationals, do it against a righty because they're actually even better against lefties in strikeout percentage. They have the best strikeout percentage against left-handed pitchers in Major League Baseball. So even though it's good against righties still, it's 3% higher than against lefties. So I don't hate it too much. I'm going to go a different way in that game, and I'll get to that pick here in a few minutes. But let's bring up the second community pick for today. Excuse me, today's action. There's nothing I love more than a big underdog. This one is bold. It is Rays money line against the New York Yankees plus 215. Jalen Beeks gets a start for the Rays. Looks like they're going with a bullpen game. Looks like Beeks is just going to be a starter for the Rays. He's probably not going to go too deep. He's a lefty going up against Clark Schmidt for the Yankees. I kind of agree with this one in the sense that, the Yankees should be favored, but this does seem kind of like an insane price. But to go up, to put a bullpen game up against a Yankees offense, which is, arguably the best offense in the majors, might be a long night for the Rays. We'll see.
Yeah, I think even as great as the Yankees are, every team is due for a down night, and you've kind of seen the Rays, they've given them just a little bit of trouble, not too much resistance, but the first game of the series 2-0, second game of the series 4-3, and you haven't seen this crazy Yankees offense in the last 2 games. So there is a chance that Tampa Bay can come in and steal this one. So I like this. I like this one.
I like big underdogs, especially in baseball. I fire at them quite a bit, and I already hit a big underdog this year against the Yankees. I took the Orioles against them at plus 260 a few weeks ago, and that hit. So I'll never hate too much on a big underdog because it's baseball. There's 162 games. Teams, lose games, obviously, even games that they shouldn't necessarily lose. So obviously you could take the Rays run line, and I'm going to look it up now, but that's probably it. Well, actually, those odds have shifted. The odds have come down. I don't know if the Yankees, because I did see that earlier, they were 2-1. That's all shifted all the way down to plus 152. I haven't seen why. I've just been watching U.S. Open all day, but they're all the way down to plus 152. That tweet was sent to me earlier when they were up higher than 2-1. So I don't know if that was a pitching change or what, but interesting to note, odds have come down quite a bit on that game. All right, bring up the third community pick. I think we're going to dive into. Yes, some NBA action. My guy, Marcus Smart, who is my pre-finals pick to win NBA Finals MVP. Obviously, that has not worked out, but over 15.5 points for Marcus Smart. Do you have any thoughts on this one, Donnavan?
No, this is actually a really, really good pick. So Smart is averaging somewhere around 16 points for the series, but those numbers are skewed down a little bit because he had a completely terrible game 2. He scored 2 points. If you take out game 2, Smart is averaging 20 points per game. And so if you're going to get a normal Marcus Smart game, and I have more on Marcus Smart later in the show, but I think at 15.5, that's a really, really good number to get Marcus Smart at tonight.
Yeah, and you have a few different NBA plays for tonight. Obviously, when we get to the best bet section here in a second, and then for the game of the night, you're going to have your best bet for Game 6 tonight. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's bring up the final community pick for tonight, which I think is another NBA one.
Yeah,
alternate line. Not even a small alternate line. So the Warriors are 4-point underdogs tonight. Beetle Bailey at BeetleB26064112. Definitely use fewer numbers than that. Is flipping it all the way around a 10-point swing alt line at 3-1 for the Warriors to win by at least 7 points. Hey, I said it about the Rays. I love bold calls. I love alt lines. I do alt lines a little bit in the NFL. I obviously I don't have a strong feel on the game, but I don't know, Donnavan, what are your thoughts on that on a Warriors alt line?
No, this is great. And even if you're on the other side for this, I think that alternate lines, especially in the series, are really good, because what we've seen a lot is that there's been, swing after swing, and these teams are going on these crazy runs and really spreading the game open. And we haven't gotten a like truly close game in terms of margin. Yeah, in terms of margin at the end of the game. So if you're gonna go on either side, you might as well take and have that team winning by a little bit more. Beetle B and a million numbers. I think that this is a fantastic play.
Yeah, there's no game has been decided by fewer than 9 points so far this season. Fewer than 10 points so far this series is what I meant to say. So there has not been any single-digit decisions so far. Celtics won by 12, Warriors won by 19, Celtics by 16, Warriors by 10, Warriors by 10. So no single-digit decisions. So if you're going to bet, if you think that trend's going to keep up, whatever team you want to take, just, I don't know, maybe sprinkle a little bit on the alternate line. So I don't hate that whatsoever. But let's dive into now our best bets for tonight between myself and you, Donnavan. I am going all baseball, and I believe you have a WNBA pick and then a few NBA prop bets. So let me get a couple of these MLB ones out of the way. We'll go to your WNBA. We'll come back to my last baseball, and then you'll finish off with a few NBA.
Sounds good.
So I'm going to start with the first 5 bet that I alluded to earlier. I'm going first 5 run line on the Phillies over the Nationals. So run line, obviously, if it's full game, it's -1.5. First 5 run line is -0.5. As the ice cream truck drives by my window for the 15th time today, it's driving me nuts. But this is just a full-on fade of Patrick Corbin. That's why I'm going first 5. Also, I don't really trust the Phillies bullpen. But Patrick Corbin has been getting progressively worse season after season since 2018. This year, no exception, a 6.65 ERA and a 1.734 whip. This ice cream truck is going to make me go insane. That tune, can you hear it? That tune just in my head all day, every day.
I can hear it. And for some reason, it sounds like they heard you talking and they cranked it up. Yes. It sounds like it got louder. So I can see how it's driving you crazy.
I don't even live on a busy street. I don't know why the ice cream truck driver drives down my road 15 times a day. It's not a busy street at all. It's like a side road.
They have to park themselves to get ready to go to the busy street. You're the prep street.
God,
You're the prep street.
Unbelievable. Patrick Corbin, I can't even hear myself think. Patrick Corbin has allowed at least 3 earned runs in 6 straight starts, and now he has to face a team who smashes lefties. The Phillies are 4th in OPS in lefties this season, so I think the Phillies are going to get to Patrick Corbin in the first 5 innings. -0.5 at -150. And then I'm going to just go right into my second Major League Baseball pick. Going with a total bet between the Brewers and the Mets. I'm going under 8 in this one. Neither team has been good offensively so far in June. They both rank in the bottom half of the majors in both batting average and OPS. In fact, the Brewers have scored the 4th fewest runs this month. Only the Angels, Athletics, and Tigers have scored fewer runs than the Brewers this month. And also the Mets are much better against right-handed pitchers, but tonight they face a lefty and Aaron Ashby. Their OPS drops from 755 against righties to 704 against lefties. So if you're going to take an under in a Mets game, do it when they are facing a left-handed starting pitcher like they are tonight. So I'll go Brewers, Mets under 8. Those are my first 2. I got a pitching prop to finish it off. Why don't you go ahead and break down your best WNBA bet for tonight?
Yeah, and but before we get into that, our guy Scott Sneed said Corbin over 6.5 hits tonight plus 120. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, any way you want to fade Corbin, and I've seen a lot of people have been doing that. Any way you can fade Corbin, do it. So I like that pick as well. I see some people are going with a Phillies team total over. I think I saw a team total over 5.5 at plus money. Over 6.5 hits is a good look as well. I don't have his numbers in front of me, so I don't know exactly how many hits he's been giving up recently. But with a whip of 1.734 or whatever it is, he's given up hits. So yeah, whatever way you want to fade Corbin in this game, it's probably the way to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets lit up again this game that they, send him back down to the minors to see if he can figure things out, because he's just been terrible this season. So, yep, good luck, Scott Snead. I like that quite a bit.
All right. I'll get into my WNBA pick right now. So I have the Mystics minus 4.5 versus the Liberty. So this is the second time that these teams are playing. And the first time that they matched up, the Liberty were 12-point underdogs. They actually went and beat Washington. And so they've kind of adjusted in this game. You've moved from a 12-point underdog to only a 4.5-point underdog. It's a very sizable shift. But I'm taking the Mystics tonight because, one, they play the same style of basketball as New York. These are the two slowest teams in the WNBA. However, New York's offense, even though it's been like bubbling up for the last two games, it's still not as efficient as Washington's offense, and their defense is not as good. And so if I'm just looking at it, if we're going to play a slower style of basketball, and if New York wants to play slow, that's exactly what Washington wants them to do. I think that Washington should actually be favored a little bit more, but they're getting a little bit of value because of the last loss. So I think that they bounce back in a major way tonight and kind of send the Liberty, back down to earth where they are. So I'll take the Mystics 4.5 tonight.
All right. I like a little WNBA action. You and Ben have been crushing those picks so far this season. I got one more MLB pick for tonight, like I said, as a strikeout prop. It is on the guy who I picked, I bet on to win AL Rookie of the Year. It doesn't look like he's going to win that because he didn't get called up until recently, but he's been strong since he got called up for the Mariners. And that's George Kirby, over 5.5 strikeouts tonight against the Angels. The Angels strike out on 26.1% of their plate appearances against right-handed pitchers. That is one of the ugliest stats you'll find in Major League Baseball, and that is dead last in the majors against righties by a pretty wide margin. Like 26.1% strikeout rate is terrible. Kirby hasn't surpassed this number in 2 straight games, but tonight is obviously a good chance for him to get back in form, because he had 2 straight starts of 9 strikeouts and 8 strikeouts at the end of May. So I think he can get back to that kind of form tonight, like I said, against an Angels team whose offense is just all out of sorts, especially against right-handed pitchers, which of course George Kirby is. So little strikeout prop, George Kirby over 5.5 strikeouts for tonight. Donnavan, let's start talking a little NBA Game 6 action. You got 2 picks now, and then we will get to your best bet later on when we really dive into Game 6. But hit me up with 2 plays that you got so far.
Yes, sir. So listen, but based off of these 2 picks, you're going to know kind of what direction I'm going in tonight. But my first pick I'm going to go Jordan Poole over 11.5 points tonight, minus 125. This line actually moved down. His line has been somewhere around like 12.5, 13.5 this series. I'm actually very surprised that it moved down to 11.5. So I think that, this is a really good chance for Poole. He hasn't been as efficient as he was this entire, postseason, or even during the regular season. He's had a lot of issues on defense. He's had like a weird role, but he's cleared this line in 3 of his last 4 games. The Celtics switched up their defensive coverage, and so now they're pressuring Steph Curry a lot more, which means that the ball is going to be everywhere. It's going to be in everybody else's hands. And if that's going to be the case, Poole's going to get a lot more open opportunities if the Warriors end up playing a lineup with Poole and Curry. When Steph goes to the bench, Poole is one of the main creators for the Warriors offense. So he's going to have the ball in his hands. He takes a lot of shots early in the shot clock. He creates a lot for himself, takes a lot of step back. So I think that if the Celtics come out and they decide, hey, we're not going to let Steph Curry beat us tonight, Jordan Poole is going to be the one to step up in that area. And 11.5, again, kind of a discounted line. So I really like that one. And then second, I'm going to go Kevon Looney over 5.5 points. That is at minus 115. I really like backing Kevon Looney, whether if it's on, on his points, on his rebounds. He's been a very fun bet for me this entire postseason, and especially in this series, because he gets all like the dirty buckets. He gets all the little works. We're talking about 6 points here. Again, the reason why the Celtics kind of strayed away from putting a whole bunch of pressure on Steph Curry and even trapping him early in the series is because they didn't want those 4-on-3 opportunities that eventually lead to Kevon Looney buckets down at the bottom. Looney, he started off the game, I think it was game 4 or game 5. He had the first bucket of the game. He gets a lot of baskets at the rim. There's a lot of opportunities for him to get and ones and fouls. He was in foul trouble very, very early in game 5. So I expect him to come back and get some more minutes in game 6. So if he's going to be out on the floor longer, he's going to take more shots than he did in game 5. So everything's going up for Kevon Looney. And so at 5.5 points, three buckets, maybe a field goal here and a free throw here and there, I like backing Kevon tonight.
I like it quite a bit. One last question. We didn't have this, but I do like bringing it up, and that's the Daily Dinger that we do every day at BetSided. We give out a player in Major League Baseball. Now I have sirens outside my window. This city is unbelievable. Daily Dinger, we get over an MLB player to hit a home run each day. Donnavan, who would you have for your Daily Dinger pick today? Are you frozen? Unbelievable. I had Eduardo Escobar. For the Mets, left-handed pitcher, his slugging numbers are unbelievable against lefties, I should say. And I think he hit for the cycle last time that the Mets played against the left-handed starting pitcher. So if you're looking for a little prop bet for a player to hit a home run today, I like Eduardo Escobar of the Mets. Maybe I'll get Donovan's Daily Dinger pick. If he ever comes back, I might just ride the show solo for the rest of the way. Why don't we, while we're trying to fix Donovan's internet, why don't we bring up the recap graphic, if we can, so you don't have to see zoomed in on my ugly face. So here are myself and Donovan's best bets for tonight. Phillies first 5 run line. I have Phillies against the Nationals, under 8 between the Brewers and the Mets, and then over 5.5 strikeouts for George Kirby. Donovan's got a little WNBA pick, the Mystics -4.5 against Liberty. Over 11.5 points for Jordan Poole and over 5.5 points for Kevon Looney. Ben just checked the Daily Dinger, and he says that Donnavan had Manny Machado. So Donovan's internet is still trying to get fixed. I will just run this. This will be a one-man show for the rest of the time. I'm fine doing a one-man show, except the issue is now the camera is just on me and it's zoomed in on my ugly mug. So I don't necessarily like that, but the show goes on. The next segment that we are going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about by myself, we'll see little World Cup futures. The World Cup, the final teams. Obviously, we knew most of the teams a while ago, but the final teams that went to like the play-in games, Australia got in with a big win over Peru, I believe it was. So the full field was finalized this week. So we got odds to win group stages. So we figured, even though it's a while, I think it's not until November this year because it's in Qatar, however you pronounce it. We figured we'd talk a little World Cup future. So I'll go through my picks, and then maybe by the time my picks are done, we'll have Donnavan back. If not, hey, maybe I'll just ride this show out by myself the rest of the way. My podcast is me ranting for over an hour all the time anyway, so I'm kind of used to just ranting by myself. Is Donnavan back?
I'm here. I'm here.
Glad of you to join us.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
Right before he froze, I asked your Daily Dinger pick, and it's Ben chimed in the chat. It's Manny Machado. So best of luck to you with your Daily Dinger pick as well. Oh, he's frozen again. Someone always has. Oh, is Ben? Ben, are you now going to fill in for Donnavan?
I got to stretch out in the bullpen, Ian. I heard that the starter went down.
Wow. Unbelievable. What a turn of events.
Jump in if you needed it, although World Cup futures, this is going to be a doozy, but we can handle this together. We can ride the train together if need be.
All right. Well, I'll break down my two, and if you have any opinions, let me know, and then we'll see if we can get Donnavan back in here. His internet might just be dead. This is a common theme. It has happened to almost everyone that someone's internet dies on this show. It is usually Peter. It has certainly happened to me. It is now Donnavan's turn. my World Cup futures, I got a best bet and I got a dark horse. My best bet is a team, a country that I have a soft spot for in the World Cup because I bet on them before last World Cup and they went on to win. So I owe it to them to now bet again on them again this World Cup in 2022. And that is France. Allez les Bleus, as they say. I mean, there's only one name that you need to know when betting on France. And am I going to mispronounce his first name? Yes, but oh well. It's Kylian Mbappe. I know how to pronounce his last name. Won the World Cup with them. Did I hit the first name too? Is it Kylian?
That sounds about right. I feel like if you got Mbappe, then you did everything right. The Kylian part is probably like if that's up for debate, then I feel like you're going to lose that regardless. You know what I mean?
Yes, I definitely got the Mbappe part, but he led France to the World Cup last time when he was only 19 years old. He is now only 23 years old. It makes me feel very old, to be honest, but he's obviously gotten a lot better. He's on pace to be arguably the best France player in the history of their country. France soccer player, football player, if you're from football, if you're from France, but is even better now. There's also no doubt that they're going to win their group. They're minus 275 favorites to win their group, the second largest favorite of the group stage. Only Brazil is a bigger favorite to win their group at minus 280. So they're going to get to the knockout stage, and then it's just all about how they're going to do in the knockout stage. So they have one of the best, probably the best young player in the world, Mbappe. They're the defending champions. If you're going to not set the defending champions as the favorite to win the whole thing, I'm just going to go ahead and bet on them again, especially considering they cashed for me. I think I got them at like 7-1, I think, before the last World Cup. So Allez les Bleus, France is going to be my pick.
I think it's a solid play. Anytime that, what's nice is that sometimes I like to fade teams that are coming off of a championship, but the World Cup is an entirely different animal, right? Like you have 4 years, the idea that all of a sudden you're not going to have the same type of momentum trying to defend your World Cup championship. It's just not going to be any sort of aspect that you want to consider, right? Like you have the opportunity. There's actual country pride on the line. It's not every single year. I think France makes a lot of sense in the fact that you can get them still at plus 550 over a win bet. Seems a reasonable play. And especially when you're looking at their group stage as well, it feels like it's set up fairly well for them, right? Like if you're talking about where France is going to be coming in, the only other team that really could challenge them is Denmark in Group D. Otherwise, you're dealing with Australia. They're 16-1 to win Group D. Tunisia is plus 2,000. France comes in minus 275 right now to win Group D. So already you're talking about a nice victory from the first two teams. And then it's about just finding the opportunistic matchups. And you've seen France do it in the past.
Coming out of the bullpen, already throwing heat, Ben. I like it. All right, I'm going to give my dark horse pick. I'm sure you'll probably have a strong opinion about this, but can you guess who my dark horse pick is?
Does it rhyme with Latida?
Yes, it does, Ben. Canada.
Can't believe I saw that one coming.
150-1 to win the World Cup, to win their group, plus 1,005. The odds for Canada in this World Cup, I'm going to be honest, are downright disrespectful. They have the same odds to win their group as Morocco. Like, let's respect Canada a little bit. Look at the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. They finished first, ahead of Mexico, ahead of the United States of America. They only lost 2 games. One game was to Costa Rica when they were down a man due to red card. The other game was against, I think, Puerto Rico, was it? And that was the last game when they already had their spot clinched. So obviously they didn't play their best players. And they had 1 win and 1 draw against Mexico. They had 1 win and 1 draw against the United States. Canada is turning into a soccer country. And most of their wins, most of the games in the qualifying stage, it didn't even have their best player, one of the best soccer players in the world right now, Alphonso Davies. He's going to be back for the World Cup. And in their group, obviously, I mean, they are probably the third best team, but they don't have an unbeatable team in that group. They don't have like a Brazil or a France or, even maybe arguably in England. Obviously, Belgium and Croatia are tough games. They're going to be, pretty sizable underdogs against them. But if they even draw one of those 2 games, they beat Morocco, they could get to the knockout stage. And if they get to the knockout stage, anything is possible. So I'm probably not going to bet on them to win their group, to be honest, at like 12-1 odds. I am going to bet on them to advance to the knockout stage. People are disrespecting Canada. They dominated CONCACAF. Canada's here to stay. This is not a fluke. This is a solid team. So My dark horse, I'm going to sprinkle on 150-1 just as my patriotic duty, but I don't fully expect them to win a World Cup. But I don't think I've seen odds for like to advance to the knockout stage. They're probably going to be like 5-1, 4-1 to advance to the knockout stage. I'll bet that.
So their Group F odds right now are plus 1225. So Donnavan wrote about this over at BetSided earlier today that their implied odds of winning the group are 7.55%. Same thing with Morocco, as you mentioned, although in his power rankings, Donnavan has your team Canada at 18, just behind Mexico with the same odds at 150-1 and right ahead of Ecuador at 150-1. He has Morocco all the way down at 28 out of 32 teams at 250-1. So I think that analysis, especially is in line with Donovan's power rankings heading into the World Cup. So you might be looking at a sleeping giant for at least one particular stage of the World Cup. And I'll tell you this about Canada as well. Do you have any concern of them heading to Qatar, playing in the extreme heat? You know, that could be something that maybe not enough people are talking about. This is not an area of the country, not an area of the world, Iain, that tends to deal with extreme heat particularly well. You know, cold weather sports, I'm all about it. But this is going to be something that I think bettors really need to consider here.
Yeah, potentially. And to be honest, that's actually an advantage Canada has in CONCACAF because like every other CONCACAF country, except for obviously United States, are all like Central America, like Caribbean countries. Like it was hilarious. Like there was a game, I think it was against Jamaica. They were up playing in Vancouver and like the snow had to be like pushed off the field and there was just piles of snow on the sideline. I think after Canada scored, they jumped into a pile of snow at one point. Not exactly favorable conditions for Jamaica or whatever Caribbean team was that they were playing that game. So that winter advantage they have during qualifying stage certainly is not going to be there.
I will say this, by the way, that I know that you're heading off to Canada in just a little bit. I'm going to be going there at the end of the month with my wife for our anniversary. I think I'm going to have to join you in putting a little bit of money down on Canada in Canada to be able to place it at a Canadian book while I'm out in the beautiful Canadian Rockies. I feel like I'll be doing my part. This is a gorgeous area of the world that is going to be giving me hopefully a very enjoyable vacation. The least I can do is put $5 down, probably $5 Canadian dollars, about $5 American dollars on Canada to win the World Cup at 150-1. So I'm all about it. I'm all about trying to support it, even if it means going up against the U.S. Maybe I'll put some on U.S. in the United States book, and everything will be even.
I love it. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it'd be crazy a U.S. against Canada knockout stage game. That'd be fun.
Yes. Stay away from the borders.
Yes. Do we have Donnavan back? Is he ready to give out his World Cup picks?
There he is.
What's up, y'all?
Is your internet all right, Donnavan?
We're okay. Listen, Game 6 of the finals. This is my Willis Reed moment. I'm coming back in, and off the top, I have to tell you because I was back listening to everything that you guys were saying. There's no way that Canada is advancing to the knockout stage.
Oh, come on, dude.
It's not happening.
You just send them back, Ian. You just send them back.
Yeah. Oh, Donnavan. Internet. Oh, we can't hear you. Oh, your internet's cutting off again. Oh, what?
Not happening.
What? Uh-oh.
It's not happening. And the reason why I put them at 18 behind Mexico, behind the US, even though that they ended up winning CONCACAF, is because of their group. Their group, they have the hardest group out of everybody in CONCACAF. And if you look at everybody that they have to play Belgium, who was, third. First off, whoa now. Let's not disrespect the Belgians. Let's not.
They choke in the World Cup. That's a fact.
That's not. Well, they've made it further than Canada has repeatedly, and they've made the third place game last year or last World Cup, and they got World Cup and they got third place. And then also Croatia is in their group, the runner up from last World Cup.
Overrated.
So you have a lot of teams. You have half the group that has actual like knockout, semifinal, potential World Cup winning experience. Canada does not have that. They're not making it out the knockout stage. So yeah, that's not happening. But listen, I respect you for doing your patriotic duty and betting on Canada. I might do the same if I'm feeling patriotic with the US, but it is what it is. But
okay, so Donnavan, before we jump into Game 6, really quick, just give me your World Cup pick and your dark horse, a shortened Cliff Notes version of it since your internet was down, and then we'll jump into Game 6 and send Ben off. Ben can stay here for World Cup, and then we're kicking him off for Game 6.
All right. I'll start with the dark horse. Dark horse is the team that I told you to not disrespect. I'm taking Belgium, 12-1. Yeah, Belgium 12-1. Now they don't have Romelu Lukaku on the roster this time, but they still have Courtois as their goalkeeper. That is a great sign for them. And then my pick to win it all. They made the Euros last year. They choked it away to Italy, but I think England finally regains a championship status, and so I think England at plus 550 ends up winning the World Cup this year.
That's like picking the Maple Leafs to win the Cup, or like picking the Vikings to win the Super Bowl. It's like the notorious team that is always good but can never win it all.
Eventually, they have to break through, and maybe. I like England. I like what they're doing over there across the pond. So yeah, I'll take them to win.
All right, Ben, it's been an amazing reliever performance by you. But really quick, just give out your best bet for Game 6 tonight if you have one. Or even just who do you think do the Warriors get it done tonight? Do the Celtics force Game 7? Just give us a quick pick, and then me and Donnavan can wrap things up.
I'll go Celtics -4 tonight. Feels like everything is on the table for them. It's weird because there's all these different trends that went against Boston and against Golden State, especially with Steph going 0 for 127 in his playoff career and making three-pointers. It finally happened in Game 5, and they still won by double digits. But Golden State also has that tendency where in elimination games, when they still have some breathing room, don't completely show up. And I think Boston at home finally gets whatever they need left to force a Game 7, and then Golden State ends up winning this series in 7. So I like that. I also like the over on Derek White assists at 2.5 tonight. So a little 2 plays for the price of 1 coming in for relief today.
An all-time relief performance by Ben. Hopefully Donovan's internet can stay on for another 5 to 10 minutes here. Appreciate it, Ben. Thanks for hopping on.
You bet.
All right.
A stellar performance.
Stellar performance in relief. All right, let's talk NBA Game 6, shall we? We just heard Ben's picks. I guess we can start. I'll start with my pick, and then you're the NBA guy. You can kind of finish things off here. I am going with the same pick that I made in Game 5. It did not hit, but I'm going to go back to the well, and that is Klay Thompson under 20.5 points. Klay Thompson's total last game was 19.5. He scored 21 late. He's got the last basket late. So that was a little bit of a stinger, a little bit of a bad beat there. But I'm going to go back to the well, especially because the point total is actually up a point, up to 20.5. But he's only surpassed his number 8 times in 21 playoff games this postseason, only 3 times in the last 10 games. And also his numbers drop off quite a bit when he's playing on the road this season. He's shooting 44.4% from the field at home, down to 40.9% from the field on the road. And he's only averaging 18.4 points on the road this season as well. So, and I think this is just going to fade the narrative, the Klay Thompson Game 6 narrative that everyone loves to talk about. And there's nothing I love doing more than fading a public narrative that means nothing from a betting standpoint. So Klay Thompson under 20.5 points.
No, you're wrong. Game 6 Klay is showing up. Game 6 Klay.
What does that mean though? Like is he not trying hard, like just as hard in other games, and then Game 6 is like, okay, I'm going to try now?
It has nothing to do with not trying. It's the fact that, listen, we need buckets tonight. Klay looks around and says, "Boys, I got you." If you go back since 2016,
can't you just do that any game then?
It's not. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Let's take the ice cream truck outside your window, right? Let's say a parent goes and gets their kid ice cream every single day. They don't value that ice cream, but if they know, hey, on Fridays we get ice cream, they're gonna look all week and they're gonna be so excited until Friday to get the ice cream. That's Game 6 for Klay Thompson.
You can't compare getting ice cream to a Game 6 NBA Finals performance. Like, hey, Klay, it would have been nice if he would have showed up the first 5 games of the series, dude. Why are you just turning it on now? He's withholding his points like parents withhold ice cream from their kids. Come on.
Game 6 Klay is something,
same as every other game.
Different. It's something different.
It's
he got that dog in him.
It means nothing.
He got that dog in him. And that's just something that you can't put on stats.
If he has a big performance tonight, it's actually a knock on him, because that means, like, if he is saving something for Game 6, that's just rude to his teammates. Just bad sportsmanship.
No, It means that he's clutch. It means that it means that he has that dog in him and that he's nice.
I'll fade that narrative. Klay Thompson under 20.5 points. Complete side note, did you see the video of the Klay Thompson lookalike who snuck into the Warrior Stadium and just started shooting?
Yes, he is banned from the Chase Center for life now.
He shouldn't be.
They have to
literally just walked by security. Like, they just let him through. It's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. It's the Chase Center's fault. So that's why you have to ban him. He embarrassed the entire Chase Center security. So like you can't let that slide. You have to do something. He
was even on his way out when they finally caught him. Like, it's not like he put up a fight. He's just like, all right, I'll leave.
You can't let it slide. You can't do nothing. You can't let him come back, because then that just makes you look like it makes you look weak times 2. So
you're right, but also I just disagree with that. But anyways, I digress. Let's hear your best bet for Game 6 tonight.
So I talked about it earlier, and I'm also going with an alternate spread tonight. I'm going Warriors -3.5 plus 200. I think that the Warriors wrap up this series tonight. And like I said earlier, this series has been defined by runs, whether you're talking about the crazy Boston run at the end of Game 2 or in Game 4, they go on the fourth quarter run, the Warriors third quarter runs. Each team finds a space in these games to go on a crazy run, find separation, then that ends up being the difference in the game. And so if you're going to bet on a team to win in this series, you might as well take them, minus a couple points, minus a handful of points. Now, I'm not going to be as bold as our guy earlier who took the Warriors -6, but -3.5 plus 200. I still think that's a really good opportunity to get a lot of value on the Warriors who are on the road. People think, like you, that Klay Thompson might not show up and might not give them, the second scoring option that they need, or I guess third if you're counting Andrew Wiggins. But I think Steph Curry and the Warriors, they lock it up. I don't think they want to go back to San Francisco and get into a Game 7 where literally anything is possible. So Warriors -3.5, Steph Curry legacy game again tonight to wrap it up.
So there you have it. Not only do we have a community pick on an alt spread, I think these are the first 2 alt spreads we've ever seen on the show. And one's a community pick. He's going a little bit more aggressive. What was he, -6? But you also have an alt spread, -3.5. Like I said, I don't think we've ever seen it on the Daily Betslip before.
History in the making.
History in the making. We also have a poll pick that we will have to back, and the poll result on Twitter and on YouTube is Warriors +4. So that means I will need to back the Warriors, and even though I think I would rather back the Celtics tonight, but I will back the Warriors. Donnavan, you got to double up your bet, except this one is not an alt spread, so a little bit of a safer bet for you compared to your alt spread. Warriors +4. Obviously, if the alt spread hits, this one hits too. Let's quickly just finish off the show with just reading our best bets for tonight. And then we can wrap things up and get out of here, and my vacation can officially start. I'll start with my best bets. In Major League Baseball, I got Phillies first 5 run line, -150 against Nationals. Brewers, Mets under 8, and George Kirby over 5.5 strikeouts. And then for Game 6 tonight, I'm going Klay Thompson under 20.5 points.
Okay. All right. So I have Mystics -4.5 versus the Liberty. I have Jordan Poole over 11.5 points. That's -125. Kevon Looney over 5.5 points at -115. And then I'm taking the Warriors alternate spread -3.5 plus 200 to close it out tonight. And those are my best bets for Thursday, June 16th. And crazy show.
Crazy show.
Crazy show.
And tomorrow, I think it is you and is it you and Ben?
I think so. So I will be doing whatever I can to prep this Wi-Fi, because I don't know if we're gonna have somebody in the bullpen ready to jump on.
No. And Ben will be moving from the bullpen role today to the starting role tomorrow, alongside you to recap a little NBA action, and I'm sure you guys will talk MLB, WNBA, and hey, because it's the last day of the week, maybe you'll even touch on NHL Game 2, which is Saturday night.
Yes.
I believe.
Yes, Saturday.
All right. What a show. That's it. Thank you all for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, as always, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Best of luck with all your bets tonight. Donnavan, we'll see you tomorrow. I won't see you again for about 2 weeks. So I'll see you in like 2 weeks' time.
Have fun, bro.
In the tropical paradise of Canada. Can't wait. supposed to rain the whole time I'm there.
Awful.
Terrible. All right. Talk to y'all next week. Thanks for watching.